And that's on a daily basis, but people don't see that.
No.
And to be fair, I think I said to you when we met, I probably don't post that enough and say, this is what's happened today. I've started to do it a little bit more now, because just after a conversation with a friend, and I've started to post now, and I think it highlights that just because you are doing other stuff, everything's not fixed. There's a lot that goes on behind the mask sometimes.
I first sat down with Lee last year, and even then I remember genuinely inspired by his story, his honesty, and the way he carried himself. We had always intended to record a podcast together, but for different reasons, it didn't happen at the time. So I'm really grateful that we finally managed to sit down and have this conversation properly. When you look at Lee today, you see how much progress he has made. He's back at work, he's training, he looks physically stronger, he continues to move forward. But one of the most important things I took away from this conversation is that progress doesn't always mean somebody is completely better. There is still challenges. Lee manages everyday things like fatigue, tremors, sensory overload that people may not see from the outside. As a man, we often show people the parts of ourselves that we're proud of, while keeping the difficult and vulnerable moments behind closed doors. That's why I had so much respect for Lee for speaking so openly. This isn't only a story about what happened to him. It's a conversation about acceptance, resilience, fitness, humor, and learning how to keep living when life changes unexpectedly. Lee, thank you for trusting me with your story and for giving me your time. I hope everyone watching takes something meaningful from this conversation. This is Lee Cowley's story, told in his own way. Welcome to the Life Mode podcast. Today I am sitting down with Lee Cowley. From the outside, people may see Lee training, looking stronger and moving forward. What they may not see is the physical reality he can still face every day after the brain surgery and treatment. This is a conversation about progress without pretending everything is fixed, and about what it takes for a man to reveal the parts of life that are harder to show. Lee, thank you for trusting me with the whole story. So, let's reconnect, because we connected before and it's been almost like a year since we connected now. And I want to say that what's changed from when we spoke until now?
Things that have changed since we spoke. I've managed to go back to work 3 half days a week, which I never thought I would do. I work Monday, Wednesday and Friday, 5 hours a day. So it gives me time in between each day to manage my fatigue and all the side effects from my previous journey. I've also been given the okay to go back into the gym. Obviously I checked with Oxford Hospital to make sure that I could go back into the gym, which again was another thing that I never thought I'd get back to doing. But they said, yeah, it's fine and probably be good for mental health. So I'm back in the gym, living on my own again now. I was living with my parents when I last saw you. And and now I've got my own place and trying to live independently, which can be a struggle in itself. But yeah, well, they're the three main things that have changed, really. Big changes.
Yeah, that's quite significant changes, because
Yeah.
you were very had to be dependent on quite a lot of people at that time.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of challenges.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I mean, I still get the challenges, which I guess we'll talk about in a bit. But the three things are really big things that I never thought would happen again. Like I say, I never thought I'd work again. I was told that by Oxford Hospital that the likelihood is, because of everything that's happened, I may not be able to go back to work. But me being me, I wanted to move forward and try and get back to work. And yeah, I have. A lot of people have said to me, why have you gone back to work? Why not just sit at home and live off benefits? And it's like, no, that's not who I am. I need a bit of meaning, a bit of purpose.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And the one thing I did say when I decided to go back to work was I wasn't going to go back to work just for the money. I wanted to go back to work to do something that I thought was meaningful and a bit of purpose, because I think in life we have to sometimes do stuff for the financial side. So when you've got a lot of responsibilities and overheads, you need to take a job at a certain level of salary to live. Obviously with my story, everything changed, and I vowed that I wouldn't do that. I'd go back to work for something that helps others and something that gives me a bit of purpose.
With your current job, does that deliver that? And
yeah, exactly.
Thankful for individual we know very well. Andy has given that opportunity and to be in that industry.
Yeah, Andy sort of put me forward and said to his boss, I know just the guy. And that's how it started.
Yeah. How long's it been that you work with them now?
Just over 3 months.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's good. Still finding my way, but really like it. Really like it.
Good. So what was the proudest moment since the last time I seen you then?
Probably the job, to be fair.
Yeah.
Getting back to work, because that was, I think I probably said to you at the time that I probably wouldn't work when we met 8 months ago. And I've been through various therapy for different things, and sorted a lot of stuff out in my head and thought, well, let's give it a go. And I knew I couldn't work full time. I wouldn't be able to manage it with the fatigue and the lack of sleep. But I wanted to give it a go. And at the end of the day, what I thought was worst case scenario, I'll give it a go. I can't do it. I haven't lost anything because I'm still going back to the same place.
Yeah.
So I gave it a go, and yeah, it's worked. So I think that was probably the proudest moment, getting back into a working environment, and the fact that it's helping others as well.
I remember going through the doors of the Costa when we meet up early this last week, and I saw you. I was like, mate, you've changed. You like bulked up so much more when in comparison to the first time I met you. Yeah,
100%.
Because you were like really fatigued, like walking like not like very slow, but like slow as like you wanted to be and stuff like that. And you were really struggled out, and I couldn't see that. And but to see you now at that time, I was very happy to see you changed for the better, because this is the main thing. Because become a normal and what you challenge, that life-changing experience, most people will actually go downhill from there.
Yeah, there has been some tough times. I don't mind admitting it. There's been times where I thought, what's the point? Why? I've got nothing to get up for. It felt a bit like that with after my brain treatment and my chemo and my radiotherapy. I couldn't drive, so it was kind of like you're getting up in the morning. It's like, what am I getting up for? I can't do anything. I can't go anywhere. I'm reliant on getting a lift if I do want to go anywhere. I have to be really careful because my immune system was really low after treatment, and I had no routine.
Yeah.
So there was some tough tough times, but
You got through it.
got through it. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and
So what became easier for you since the last time I saw you?
I don't know. I don't know if anything's got easier as such. Things that have got better is, like I say, the purpose, going to work, not being as isolated, having my own place. It gives you a little bit of independence back, but that comes with its own challenges with my side effects, which again I guess we'll touch base on in a bit. But so I guess the easier side of it is myself accepting that I'm a different person now, and that's made things easier to accept. Really, it's I now focus more on things that I can still do rather than things that I couldn't do.
Yeah.
Whereas before I'd perhaps dwell on, oh God, I can't do that anymore. And I think I've got more of an attitude now of, if someone tells me I can't do something, I want to try and do it.
Challenge it.
And challenge it, exactly. Yeah. So, yeah, I wouldn't say easier, but better.
Okay. So what actually remains difficult then?
Lots of things daily, really. It's side effects that people don't see from the either the brain surgery or the chemo or the radiotherapy. I think you touched on it on the introduction. People see on, say, Facebook, or if they're talking to me, they see the side, well, Lee's gone to the gym today, that's great, he must be better. Or Lee started work again, so he must be better, things must be fixed. But that's not the case. So daily I have struggles with fatigue. I tend to be better in the morning than the afternoon. And I know a lot of people will say, oh yeah, well, I'm like that though, because I get tired through the day, but it's a completely different fatigue. Neuro fatigue affects you in so many ways that normal fatigue doesn't. If you have a tiring day at work, yeah, you might be fatigued and tired, but neuro fatigue,
It's a different level.
it gives you like, sometimes you can get sensory overload. Like I've been out before and I've had to say, I need to go because there's too much going on around me. Or it might be that all of a sudden I just come over wiped out. So we could be doing this now and I'll be fine chatting to you, and all of a sudden it'll be like, it's like someone's turned a switch and you've lost all motivation. You can't find your words. You can't focus. My cognitive functions, like you said earlier when you met before, walking a bit slower. If I go out for a walk, I can sometimes bump into things, miss my footing, and that's on a daily basis, but people don't see that.
No.
And to be fair, I think I said to you when we met, I probably don't post that enough and say, this is what's happened today. I've started to do it a little bit more now, because just after a conversation with a friend, and I've started to post now, and I think it highlights that just because you are doing other stuff, everything's not fixed. There's a lot that goes on behind the mask sometimes. So daily, even prepping food, because I get hand tremors, so I can be cutting food and prepping it, and all of a sudden have a tremor on my hand, and it's dangerous. I leave the cooker on quite regularly. The other day I went for a walk with a girlfriend. Before she came round, I put some water on to boil some eggs. We went out for a walk, came back. Oh, what's that smell? And I realised that I hadn't put the eggs in the pan, and I'd left the pan on the hob, so it burnt dry, and luckily nothing bad came of it.
Yeah.
But that happens regularly. It's not just a one-off, that's all the time.
Yeah, that's a challenge that you have to go through.
And it's a challenge daily, and people don't see it. The shaky hands is bad. when people don't notice it. The biggest time people notice it is if I'm out, if I go for a drink, say in an afternoon with someone, and I go to put a drink down on the table, people can see it clink sometimes, or if I'm eating and I'm eating something like peas or rice, sometimes by the time I get up to my mouth, all the food's gone. I'm like, better try that again. So sometimes I have to try and eat with a spoon rather than eating with a fork.
Yeah.
Or I'll be eating something with sauce and I'll have a hand tremor and it'll be all over me.
Yeah.
So it's all stuff like that. It's daily struggles really. And I think sometimes we normalise it, if that's a word. We kind of get on with it and we don't really give ourselves enough credit that we're actually dealing with these struggles every day. So we kind of say, oh yeah, that's a normal day, and we soldier on and we don't say anything. So yeah, that's just everyday struggles really.
Well, on that topic, if someone that is not with you, like in a sort of similar scenario with a friend or so on that, and they see that situation, what do you suggest for, as a friend, seeing that situation, to give that support, or how they should react to it? Because some people, like, if someone like me, I'll be like, I don't know how to react. Give that respect to a friend.
Yeah, I've been asked that before actually on several things, but if you see someone struggling, one thing not to do is try and take over and go, oh let me help you with that, because you're taking their independence, and it's been hard enough for them to deal with that acceptance and the fact that they're not as independent as they were before whatever happened to them.
Yeah.
And just ask them, do you need any help? Are you okay doing that? Definitely don't jump in and go, oh, let me get that for you, or let me open that door for you, because it's almost making them feel like they can't do it, and they're actually trying to work towards being more independent. So although you're trying to help, it's not helping. So I would say always ask, is there anything I can do to make it easier for you, or are you okay? And just don't jump in. And if you're going to talk about an issue, I'll give you an example of a good friend of mine went to see another friend of ours that was in John Ratcliffe Hospital, and he'd got cancer and it had spread to his brain, and he was in John Ratcliffe Hospital, and a friend of mine was going to see him, and he phoned me up and he said, Lee, I'm going to see, I won't name the guy, but I'm going to see him today. He said, I'm really nervous, don't know what to say to him. He said, because he's in such a bad way, I don't know what to say to him. He said, what do you think? He said, I know I was in John Ratcliffe. I said, just talk to him like normal. Talk to him about football. Did you see Liverpool play at the weekend? Both Liverpool fans. Talk to him about that. If he brings up his treatment, where he is, how he's feeling, talk to him about it. You don't have to address it. Just because he's not well and terminally ill, you don't have to talk about that. Just talk to him like normal, because he will miss that. Everybody sort of is nervous and they don't know what to say, and they end up trying to say, oh, how's treatment going? You want to break from that. You don't want to talk about it. He's in John Ratcliffe. He's got that 24/7. So it's just nice for someone to come in and talk to him like a human being. How's football? Did you watch football? Did you get a chance to see the football here? And then, like I say, if they then turn around and say, oh no, I've had a bit of a bad day today because my treatment was really bad and tough today, that gives you an in then to say, oh, what was tough about the treatment? Obviously, I don't understand. I've not been through it, but can you explain what it was like? But if they don't talk about it, because I guarantee you they will appreciate a normal conversation.
Because they're actually living and breathing every second of it.
Exactly. So
a friend is saying like, oh, how are you doing? How's this treatment? I was like, I don't want to talk about it. Just get my mind somewhere else of that situation.
100%. Yeah. It's so that would be my biggest bit of advice.
Cool. So time before September 2022. Could you take me back that time where everything started?
When it happened,
Yeah, where like you were working normally.
yeah,
And
okay. Yeah, so I'd gone into work. It was September the 15th, 2022, a date that I won't forget. So I'd gone into work early. I'd gone to the gym opposite my work. So I was in the gym at about 6:15 it was. Done a session, no problem at all. Normal session, felt fine. Had a sauna afterwards and showered. Walked across the road to work. I was working opposite Seoul Central in Northampton, Catherine's house. Done a morning at work, again, no problems. Got to lunchtime and I was a bit hungry. It was about 11:45. And I said, I'm going to nip down to the cafe, just down the road, and get a sandwich. So I walked out of the building and there's a road dead outside. There's some steps up to the road and then you turn right and you go down towards College Street. And I went to step up the steps and I felt a bit lightheaded. And I put my hand on the rail and I sort of gathered myself. And I thought, I must just be hungry. I've not eaten. I'd done a workout at the gym. All I'd had was a protein shake. I thought, I'm hungry. It's quite common, isn't it? You've done too much exercise, you haven't eaten, blah, blah, blah. So I thought it was that. So I stepped up the steps, and the opposite side of the road is the normal place where everybody who has a fag and a vape, they stand there. And there was 2 or 3 from my work and 2 or 3 from one of the other offices. And I remember Nigel, who worked with me, I remember him saying, Lee, are you okay? And that's all I remember. And I came round the other side of the road, leant up against a wall, and Nigel was by me and he said, you all right, mate? I went, yeah, I'm all right. And I remember looking across thinking, I was standing over there a minute ago and I remember Nigel calling Lee, are you okay? Don't know what's happened in between. I didn't know how long it was. And Nigel said to me, do you have seizures? And I went, no, never had a seizure before in my life. And he said, I think you had a seizure. He said, I shouted across and I said to him, I remember that. And he said, and you just went rigid and started to shake. And he said, and you started to topple across the road. He said, I managed to jump over and grab you before you went down on the concrete. And he said, and I sat you up. He said it was probably about 2 to 3 minutes. He said it felt like longer. He said it was terrifying. He said, and then you've just come round. And I went, no, I've never had a seizure. I was still a little bit confused, like how I got across and what had happened. So I went to get up and he went, what are you doing? I went, I'm going to get a sandwich. I'm starving. I felt fine. And he said, no, you're not. He said, well, we need to call an ambulance. And I went, I'll be all right. It's probably just because I haven't had any food. And I think that probably says a lot about me, what I was talking about earlier, where I normalise stuff and sort of say, oh, no, it's all right. I'll be all right. And he said, no. And called an ambulance. Someone went up to the office and obviously told them what had happened. And a couple came down, a good friend of mine, Jo, she came down. She was like, oh my God, you're all right. I'll phone the ambulance. And they said, we'll be, they originally said we'll be 3 hours. So Jo said, I'll go and get my car and I'll take you to the hospital now. So she went off to get her car from the car park. And in the meantime, the ambulance turned up, literally 20 minutes, the ambulance was there. Really good. Couple got out and said, I'm going to do some tests on you. We'll get you into the back of the ambulance. And got me in the back of the ambulance and Nigel was with me. And Jo had come back with a car and she'd come into the ambulance. So we were in the ambulance and they checked for diabetes, did a mini ECG. and everything was fine. And she said, "You're going to hate me." So I said, "Why?" She went, "I've got to take you to the hospital because you've had a seizure." And they asked me, "Is there any history of seizures in your family?" And I said to the lady, I said, "I'm adopted, so I don't know my history." So she went, "Well, we have to take you in. If you turn around and said there's seizures in my family or I've had seizures before, it's X, Y, Z," she said, "then not a problem." She said, "Because you haven't, we have to take you in." So they blue lighted me to Northampton General. Wouldn't let me walk, so I went to get out, like he unstrapped me from the ambulance. I went to walk into A&E. He said, "We can't have you walking. I'm going to have to put you in a wheelchair." I said, "But I'm all right, I can walk." And he goes, "You're a big lad. If you were to fall forward, we wouldn't get a chance to grab you. So it's for your own good." So anyway, put me in an ambulance, in the wheelchair, pushed me into A&E. This is quite a funny bit. This is, well, I say funny. Pushed me through the doors to A&E, and I didn't realise when you go in by ambulance, there's a different A&E section. I just assumed A&E was where you go, but no, you go into a separate section. I went into the section, straight in front of me was the landlady of the pub where we met at the Cocking Road.
Oh, yes, yeah.
She was in there, and she was like bent over going, oh. And she looked at me and she went, "Oh my God, are you all right?" Because I was in a wheelchair, and I went, "Well, I don't know." And she went, "Oh my God, I'll see you in a minute." So I thought, that's weird. Like, I've known Ness for years, and she's a good friend. And I went into the waiting room, and as I was sat in the waiting room, my phone went. A mate messaged me and said, "Are you in hospital?" Yeah, I've not told anyone. I've not put it anywhere. And he said, "My missus is just come out of hospital," and said, "I'm sure I've just seen Lee going into hospital." So I went, "Yeah." And I said, "I don't know what's up. I'll call you later or whatever." And then literally 20 minutes later, a mate from school came in, and he was sat next to me. So there was like three people that I'd known all in the same time. So it kind of kept my spirits up a little bit. And I think I was still thinking, "There's nothing wrong with me. It's just I've had a bit of food. There's nothing wrong with me." And then I went through, I had the ECG, a full one. I had a CT scan, blood test. And I was in the waiting room literally all day. Joe stayed with me for a few hours, and I said to her, "You might as well go. You can't do anything, and I'll call you later." And off she went. So I sat in the waiting room with Ness from the pub and my mate from school. So we were chatting and everything, and a nurse came up. It was around 6 o'clock in the evening, and she said, "Oh, Mr. Cowley." I went, "Yeah." She went, "Have you had your CT scan results?" I went, "No." She was only young, and she looked at me and she looked a bit nervous, and she went, "What?" I went, "No, I've not had them." And she went, "Oh, do you want to come in this room with me?" And so I went, "Yeah, of course." So I went into the room, I sat down, and she went, "On your CT scan, they've found a lesion in your brain." So I went, "All right, what's a lesion?" And she went, "It could be numerous things." She said it could be infection, it could be a build-up of dead cells, it could be a tumour, it could be so many things. She said, I went, "Okay, no problem." I said, "So what do we do?" And she was like, "Are you okay?" I went, yeah, no, I'm fine." She went, "No, just you seem very calm." And she said a lot of people would be kind of breaking down now. I said, "Well, there's nothing I can do about it. I just need to know what the next steps are." And she went, "Well, I'll go back through and someone will come through and talk to you." So I went, "Okay." I come out, and obviously Ness and my mate were there. Said, "Oh, what did you say?" And I said, "I've got a lesion on my brain." And they were like, "Oh my God, are you okay?" And I think Ness was a bit tearful, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm okay." can't do anything about it. They're going to come out and let me know. And then a nurse came out 20 minutes later and said, just so you know, we've sent your scan results to John Ratcliffe in Oxford. As soon as they say that, you know that they think it might be something serious. So I went, okay, no problem. And I still felt quite level-headed and calm.
I was going to say,
but I don't know whether it was a case of that's just how I was, or whether it was all very surreal.
So when did it actually kicked in saying, oh moment?
Not until the next day. I literally, they came out at about 8 o'clock and said, John Ratcliffe want you blue lighted straight up to Oxford. I said, what, so now? And she went, yeah, I want you straight up there on a ward. So I guess then I probably thought, oh, what's going on here? This is serious. Got blue lighted to Oxford. It was midnight by the time I got there. So they just put me in a bed and they said, specialists will be out to see you at 6:30 in the morning. And specialists come out and said, can we talk to you? Put the curtains around me. And I hopped up and sat on the edge of the bed, and they were looking at me really quite odd. Not sort of, he looked at me and I said, you all right? And he goes, yeah, I am actually. He said, people, from what we can see from your scan, he said, I would expect someone to come in and be very lethargic, possibly not even be able to walk, not with it. He said, you just hopped out of bed and sat on the side of the bed like... And I said, well, I'll be honest with you, I feel like a fraud. I feel like there's nothing wrong with me. And he goes, oh, no, there is. He said, but we won't know what until we cut you open. So I said, all right. And so he basically said, what we need to do is we'll put a horseshoe shape in your head. He said, we'll try and do it in the hairline so that it's not as visual once all your hair grows back. We'll flip you open. He said, the minimum I want to do is a biopsy to find out what this lesion is. And he said, but I also want to put in what's called a shunt, because my this lesion at this point, because we didn't know what it was then, was in one of my ventricles, and where your ventricle is where cerebral fluid goes into. So because I had this lesion in the ventricle, the cerebral fluid couldn't go in there. So it was going into one of the other ventricles and swelling the ventricle, and that was then pushing on my brain, which gave me the seizure. So he said, we'd like to put in a shunt. He said, what it does is it takes the cerebral fluid out of going into that one and redistributes it. So it goes out, and then you won't have that pressure on the brain. I think they call it a hydrocephalus, which is pressure on the brain.
Okay.
He said, but I won't be able to tell you if I can do that until we've flipped your head open. And I went, okay then. He said, we'll let you know when we can do it. The weekend I went in was the Queen's funeral. So it was a national bank holiday on the Monday. So luckily or unluckily, whichever way you want to look at it, they felt that they could wait to do my operation. So I spent 8 days in John Ratcliffe. They operated on me on the 21st of September. It was, if I remember rightly, I think it was 4 hours, 40 minutes brain surgery. I didn't know anything about it. I was obviously under general anaesthetic. But when I came out of surgery, I was hallucinating. I thought I was in a pub. I phoned my friend up and left a voicemail saying, are you out in town? I'm having a few beers. I'll meet you. And he actually said to his wife, Lee's just messaged me, left me a voice message saying that he's in town on the piss. I'm sure he had brain surgery last night, and I didn't realise until probably lunchtime that couldn't have happened. But apparently it's very common. And then they came round in the afternoon and said, you'll be pleased to know the surgery was a success. We've put in a brain shunt, and I've got like a bubble on my head just there. And he told me that was so that they could take cerebral fluid out if they needed to. And he said, we've done the biopsy. He said, it's been sent off. You'll need to, your specialist will contact you, and you'll come back in 2 weeks for the results to find out what it is. So a day later, I was sent home. 2 weeks later, I went back to have my staples out. I had 44 staples, and they took them out, and then I went to see the specialist, and that's when they told me it was a cancerous brain tumour. And that's a very surreal moment. It's almost as if it's going on around you and it's not happening to you, but you're in the room talking to the specialist, and it's like...
Push for a second there. So you did that first section, you went back home.
Yeah, for 2 weeks.
For that period, that 2 weeks, how did you feel at that time?
I was probably a little bit anxious, thinking, well, I've got to wait 2 weeks. You're kind of in limbo. You're happy because the surgeon said the surgery went really well and they've put a shunt in, so that'll stop the pressure on my brain. So you're thinking, oh, that's great, it's gone really well. But also you're thinking, but what is it? I still don't know. I've got this lesion.
It's still there.
It's still there because they said they wouldn't take it out because of where it's located. So it was kind of relief to be out of the hospital because it was horrible. John Ratcliffe, fantastic hospital. Nurses were amazing. I've been back since and dropped them sweets and stuff. Really good. But being stuck in hospital without all your home comforts, it's tough. So yeah, I guess a bit of relief, a bit of anxiety. It was hard to know how to feel because I was still none the wiser. I didn't know.
Because at that time, that 2 weeks waiting for the result or going back, you were still quite normal, weren't you?
Yeah. Even when I was in hospital, I was walking up and down the wards 3-4 times a day because I was
bored.
I was absolutely bored. I wanted to keep moving. And I was walking down the corridor, and that's what made me feel a bit like I was a fraud. I was walking up and down the corridor, and I'd be chatting to the nurses. Anyone who knows me, I could make a conversation on my own in a phone box. I can talk forever. So I'm chatting to the nurses and whatnot. But as I'm walking down the corridor, up and down, you can't help but look in the rooms that are open, and there's people in there that can't get out of bed, can't talk, having to be fed through tubes. And I'm walking up and down the corridor, and you feel a little bit like, almost like imposter syndrome. Like, I shouldn't be here. What am I doing here? And sometimes I did sit in my bed in my ward, and there was 4 in our ward. And I remember sitting in my bed thinking, why am I here? There's nothing wrong with me. Because, like you said, I felt fine. And that was the same when I got home. It was kind of like, well, I'm all right. I'd go out for a walk, and I was tired because of the surgery, and sort of 2 or 3 days afterwards, I started getting black eyes and stuff, which I thought, what's going on here? But it's all part of the surgery. So yeah, it was very, very strange feeling, feeling okay, but knowing there's something in there and you don't know what it is.
Yeah, so haven't resolved the issue.
No.
So speed up the time. What happened next after that?
So yeah, 2 weeks later, went in, staples out, told it was a cancerous brain tumour.
Were you by yourself at that time, or?
No, I was with an ex then.
Yeah.
And I kind of sat there and I said, so is it cancerous? So he said, yeah, unfortunately it is malignant. So I went, right, okay. What's the plan then? And again, I don't know if I just went into survivor mode or I was very calm, and he said, well, you'll have to have intense radiotherapy and chemotherapy. So I said, okay, what what does that look like? Because I didn't know anything about it. I've been, touch wood, I've been quite fortunate. I haven't really had any close family that have gone through cancer to know enough about it. So I was quite naive. And he said, well, I'm going to refer you to a radiologist, Professor Andley, and also Professor Lothrow, who's a chemo specialist, and you'll have an appointment with them. They'll tell you about it. I said, okay, when will that be? And he goes, it'll be like straight away. It'll be imminent. So I had an appointment with the professor who dealt with the chemo, and he said, you'll have to have, mine were done in cycles, and there's lots of different types of chemo, but he said you'll have 4 21-day cycles. So in my head, I thought I was going to have 84 lots of chemo, because he said it'll be 4 cycles of 21 days. So I went in for my first chemo session in Oxford, and the nurse took me through and she said, are you okay? And I went, yeah. And I had to have what was called a PICC line put in. So they basically put a tube that goes through there, across there to your heart, towards your heart, and it has 2, best way of describing it is, you know, like on a hose pipe, you have the hose lock things, you have 2 of them on there, like clips in.
Yeah.
So when I have my chemo, they just clip it straight in, and that stayed with me for 3 months. And they had to fit that in. So I went into Oxford, and they did the op, and you have that under local anaesthetic. They cut your arm, and you watch it on a scanner. You watch it go across towards your heart. It's really weird. And once I got that in, I went in the next day for the chemo, and I said to the lady, oh, how long is it going to take? So she went, well, you've got 2 bags today, 2 bags tomorrow, and 4 bags the next day. So I said, oh, and what about the other 18 days? And she went, what do you mean? I said, well, they're 21-day cycles, aren't they? And she went, yeah, but you don't have chemo for 21 days. She said, that probably kill you. And I went, oh, right. I said, specialist told me it was a 21-day cycle, which when it is. So she said, you'll have 2 bags, for example, 2 bags Monday, 2 bags Tuesday, 3 bags Wednesday. And you can go home after each one. And she went, and then your next cycle is after 21 days. So that's in your system. And then your next, I went, oh, right. And she went, but your next cycle, she said, is Monday to Saturday morning, and you're plugged in 24/7. So my second cycle, I was in Oxford for a week, plugged in, all through the night, all through the day. And then I went back, so I had 4 cycles. So 2 cycles were 3 days, and 2 cycles were a week fully.
So how did the first 2 cycle feel when you're going through that?
I always find this one quite hard to talk about, a bit sensitive. Not for me, because chemo can be horrible. Everyone's seen adverts and heard about it. I went through the chemo without many side effects while I was having it, other than tiredness. I felt tired. I didn't get any sickness. I didn't lose any appetite. I didn't have any tastes of metal in my mouth. I didn't have any of the horrible things that they say that you can get. I was very, very lucky. And the reason I say I'm a bit careful how I talk about that is because I understand that other people will have it and go through a really, really horrible, tough time. But my specialist said to me, when I was on the cancer ward, she said, I absolutely love when I pick up my schedule list and your name's on it. She said, because you're always smiling, you're always so positive, and you're always trying to help people in the ward, talking to them, chatting. And she said, promise me one thing, when you leave from here, tell people how well you got through chemo. She said, because people only tell the bad stories. And she told me that they get so many people that get told that if they have chemo, it could probably extend their life by 5 to 10 years, sometimes more, and people turn it down because they've heard all the bad stories. So she said to me, promise me when you go out, you'll tell people that you got through it and you got through it okay. So I do, but I'm always a little bit conscious that some people haven't, and I don't want to go to someone, oh yeah, chemo was easy, and then they say, well, my mum had it and she was in a real bad way, because then
It affects people differently.
it does. So I'm always a little bit careful, but I just do like people to know that you can actually get through it.
Yeah, from your perspective.
From my perspective, it can happen, and all the things they tell you could happen, they're possibilities. They're not saying to you this will happen to you. So I'm an example of someone who didn't have many of the side effects that they said could happen. So it's just yeah, it was tough, don't get me wrong. It's not nice sitting in there watching the stuff go in. It's a funny feeling. It doesn't hurt when it's going in or anything. It's just like having blood. You don't feel it. And obviously with myself, I didn't even have to have a cannulas because I had the valves already there. So it's a funny one. The second cycle was a different story because I was on the ward 24/7 plugged in. And again, no bad side effects as such, but being in a ward and being in a cancer ward, it can be quite harrowing. There was a lad opposite me who was 39 with terminal cancer, and it was tough. And when he came in the same day as I did on the Monday, and they shut his curtain straight away. And he was swearing and shouting, and he had a member of family there. And she came over to me and she said, I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry about Ryan. Really am. I said, no, don't apologise. So we're all in here for not nice reasons. It's a cancer ward at the end of the day. So don't worry about it. I said, I'll have a laugh with him later. She went, don't think he'll be up for it. She said he's not really very sociable at the moment with it. I said, oh, no problem. He had his curtain shut and he came out, and I remember it clear as can be. There was England were playing, and he came out and he was shuffling along to go to the toilet on the ward. And I went, you ain't going to play for England, are you, mate? And he kind of looked round and he said, what? I said, you're not going to play for England, are you, moving like that? And he laughed and he said, no, I don't think I'll get a call up. And he went to the toilet and he come out. And I said, I said, obviously we're not okay. I said, but I hope you're doing as okay as you can. I said, if you ever want to chat or a bit of a joke and that, I said, just open your curtains and I'm dead opposite you, we'll have a laugh and that. He went back in. About an hour later, opened his curtains. We got on great for a whole week, chatting, but it's tough when you're sitting opposite someone you know's they're going to die of cancer. And then again, you get that feeling, I was fortunate, mine's not terminal. Yes, I've still got the brain tumour and I have to be checked regularly, but I haven't been told that you're going to die anytime soon. And it's hard then because you're thinking, again, you get that imposter feeling. It's almost, but everybody's struggles are relevant to them. So yes, he may be worse off than me, but my struggles are still relevant and still valid to me. And I think that's what we need to remember sometimes. Just because someone's worse off than you doesn't mean that your struggles are less valid, if that makes sense. So yeah, the second one was tough. But it's one of them things, I had to do it. There wasn't another option. No one said you can either have chemo or you can go to a health spa for a week.
Yeah, that's true. 'Cause
I had to do it.
because you're in a room that you're just waiting for a ticking time bomb in sort of sense.
Yeah, kind
You
of,
don't
yeah.
know, you don't know what's the next result is going to be and stuff
No,
like that. And
100%. Not at that stage, you
Yeah.
don't, because after I'd had the 4 sets of chemo, I then knew that I was going to radiotherapy. So you kind of think, well, let's got the chemo out of the way, but now I've got 8 weeks of radiotherapy, Monday to Friday.
So what did you do like to entertain yourself now? Obviously talking to a lot of people. And
In the
stuff like that.
ward.
Yeah, when you
Yeah, when I was in the ward for a week, chatting to the lad opposite, and we got on like house on fire. It was brilliant. And yeah, that was it really. Just chatting to Ryan across from me and having a laugh. And I had a brain fog. I had a, oh, come on. This is one of the things with the brain injury.
No problem.
iPad. That's what,
yeah.
tablet, yeah, that's the word I was looking for. My best mate brought me an iPad so that I could watch telly and yeah, and do that. So I was doing that. There was one point, sorry, I'm flicking back here to when I was in John Ratcliffe. When I was in John Ratcliffe on the ward, there was 4 of us.
Yeah.
And 2 of them that were opposite me, 2 of the guys I'm still in touch with now, keep in touch with them. But I had my iPad then and I could put my telly on it. So Tyson Fury was fighting one night.
Right.
So we were all around my bed with my iPad watching Tyson Fury fight, and it was a lovely moment, and yeah, it just reminded me there. So yeah, it was looking at the iPad, TikTok. The one thing I did watch, which I found funny, and some of the nurses said, I don't know how you can find that funny. There was Mickey Flanagan, the comedian. He did a bit of a comedy sketch about a brain surgery bit.
Okay.
And he does a bit about the brain surgeon's assistant loses the top of the head. So when they go to put it back on and staple it, she'd lost it. And that's all I could think of. And they were going, how can you think about that when you've just had brain surgery? And I said, humour's a good thing. It gets you through lots of things. So yeah, that was it really. The iPad. You were restricted to visitors because you're on a cancer ward, so your immune system's very low. So you were only allowed 1 visitor a day. So I couldn't have 1 visitor in the morning and then another one in the afternoon. You could only have 1 a day. So you try and do it so people come in for several hours rather than just, if someone came in just for 1 hour, no one else can come in. So you're on your own. So yeah, that was it really. It was, yeah, watching stuff on the iPad and talking to people in the ward. And
if it wasn't for that iPad that your mate gave you,
I would have been. You could get a telly there, but it was £55 a week to rent the telly, and on the telly you only got the basic channels, and it's a little telly you used to pull round, and it was like, I'm not paying that much money.
yeah.
But yeah, luckily my best mate Matt got me the iPad, and it was godsend. Yeah, it was because you could do all sorts, and you could get your WhatsApp on there and get everything else. So it's great.
So you've been through that. If you say like, what would go through if they have a facility to provide you that would go through like any other people do for that? Because you've been through it. What sort of things that would lighten people's up mood, or things that could help them
if they were going in to do the same sort of thing?
Yeah.
I would say the advice I'd give to people would be, make sure you've got enough to keep you occupied. So iPad. I'm not a reader, but if you're a reader, I'd say books, because you're stuck in a bed most of the day. Make sure you've got some good footwear, comfy footwear, because when I was in there, you can't go out of the ward because your immune system's so low from having treatment, so you can't risk going out of the ward. So I used to walk round. The ward was in a big square, so I used to walk round the ward. But of course, every time you walked around, you had to carry your chemo with you. So you had it on a little trolley. So I used to call it my mate. And the nurses say to me, "You off for a walk with your mate?" I go, "Yeah, me and my mate are off down the pub." And so I'd say, make sure you got some comfy slippers, books, colouring pads. Make sure you got some snacks. Some people will go off their food. I put on nearly 4 stone. I didn't go off my food. Anyone who knows me knows I love my food, but I didn't go off my food. So make sure you got snacks, because again, when I was in John Ratcliffe, I could leave the ward, I could go down to M&S, I could go to Pret a Manger, I could go to Marks and Spencer's. When I was having my chemo, you can't leave the ward. So you've only got the food that you get daily. So if you want any snacks, make sure you've got snacks that you can keep with you. Cereal
Someone
bars.
can bring it in for you.
Yeah, or someone can bring it in for you.
Were there limitations on what you can eat?
No. I mean, I kept saying to the doctors, "What's going on?" I thought I'm supposed to be like, you see all these stories that you get all gaunt and you lose weight when you have chemo and you come out and you're half the person you were. I said, "I'm coming out, I'm double the person I was." And they kept saying to me, "If you've got your appetite, keep eating, because it will give you the energy to go through the treatment." So but you don't know if you're going to lose your appetite until it starts getting around your body. So yeah, that's what I'd say. I guess if you're a woman going through it, maybe make sure you got some headscarves and stuff, because if you're going to lose your hair, I've always said I think it must be tougher for women than men when they lose their hair. I shaved my hair off because I thought psychologically, waking up in the morning in the bed and you got hair on your pillow, it must be quite something that messes with your mind, and I think even more so for women.
Yeah.
So I'd say with women, make sure you've got a nice headscarf. Look into, you can get things that you put on your head that are cold, and they reckon that helps with loss of hair.
Right.
I don't know the science behind it, but you can buy them and they're like cold packs, like an old swimming hat that you used to have, but they stay cold and they keep your head cold. So for women, maybe something like that. But yeah, the biggest thing is probably things to keep you active, keep your mind active. Mine was an iPad and conversation, but anyone who's into books, magazines, I would say make sure you got plenty.
Yeah, because it sounds like you've been so positive and sort of driven in that sense, because everyone knows that you're in there for a reason, and everyone will naturally go towards the negativity side and stuff like that. But you're quite like a positive person to just get through it. But were there like moments where tough moments that
yeah, definitely, yeah. Mostly on the ones where I was in for a week. When I was in, like, I went in 3 days, you're going in and then you're going home. So you're going home at night and you've got your own comforts at home and you sleep in your own bed. And I couldn't drive because my driving licence was taken for 12 months because I had a seizure. So my parents had to take me down for treatment. My best mate's wife, she took me down before, but mainly my parents. And so you had your treatment and it was perhaps 4 hours, and then you go out and meet my mum and dad in the cancer support place, which is called Maggie's. And they go, "You all right?" I go, "Yeah, you feel fine, but you get very tired then." They drop me home. But when I was in there for a week and you haven't got your own surroundings and you're seeing perhaps one other person that you know a day, that familiarity of people. And I spoke to people on the phone a lot, and I had a lot of people phone up, but there was moments where you're sitting there in bed and it does go through your mind. You think, am I going to come out of this? What's going to happen when I come out? Am I going to come out? Am I going to die from this? It's sort of, them thoughts go through your head, but you have to try and control them and stay positive and think, well, no, they're doing this treatment. It's for my own good. It's going to help with the cancer, and I'll get through it, and you have to try and pull yourself back together. But yeah, sometimes there were some real dark, horrible thoughts, and I think probably when my driving licence was gone, and when I had to rely on people to give me a lift,
Your independence.
your independence is gone, and you feel like you're a burden, and you do have them thoughts. You think it'd be better if I could just disappear. And don't get me wrong, I don't think I ever had any suicidal thoughts, but I think there was points where if someone said I can make you disappear and no one it wouldn't hurt anyone.
Yeah.
I think I'd probably go, yeah, I'll take that option over what I'm
Yeah.
going through. But every day's a new start, and you don't dwell on it, sit with your emotions, process them, and then move on. And that's kind of how I took it. I tried to keep as positive as I could. And I do believe that the more positive you are, the better your body takes the treatment.
Yeah, of course. Correct me if I'm wrong. You did sort of like record it and put it on social media during those process, didn't you? So you got interaction with friends and family.
Yeah. I put stuff on TikTok and put stuff on Facebook regularly, and so there was interaction on that side of it. And
well, that just came naturally for you? Like,
I think so. Yeah, I'm quite an open book.
Yeah.
And the way I see it is, hopefully it'll help to inspire someone else. If someone sees me getting through chemo and doing as well as I can and smiling, it might mean that someone else might go into hospital and go, do you know what, I can do this as well. Lee went through it, he managed it, and he was smiling. I'm going to try and do the same. And hopefully it inspires someone else. And
did you do that at the beginning, or just did it through like
from the start, really? I was pretty much straight on it. And when I had my brain surgery, I came out of brain surgery, and I like TikTok. I can get stuck in a rabbit hole.
Yeah, same here.
Going through it, and I follow lots of different things.
Yeah.
And I follow there's a lady who does. She's an American, and she does. She did making cocktails, different cocktails.
Right.
And then she went into doing paintings, and I used to follow her, and it interested me really, just the different cocktails, and then the paintings were like a certain style. And anyway, I came out of brain surgery, so 4.5 hours brain surgery, and I was like a kid on E-numbers. And I actually went live on her live an hour after coming out of brain surgery. And she was like, is everything okay? And I was like, yeah, I've just come out of brain surgery. And she was going, what? She couldn't believe it. And I was like, yeah, I've just literally an hour ago come out of brain surgery. And she was like,
You would have thought no one.
you're on live on TikTok. And I went, yeah, I know, it's brilliant, isn't it? And so, yeah, I've been upbeat and open all the way through it. And I think it helped me as much as it hopefully helped others.
Yeah.
So that's, I think anyone who knows me, that's kind of me in life. Anything I do, if I post it, people say to me, why do you post so much stuff about food and stuff? So, because it might help someone else. Someone else might think, oh, that's good, I didn't realise that was healthy. Or someone might want to go out somewhere and think, oh, where should we go this weekend? Oh, Lee's always going out. I'll have a look at, see where it's gone. So it helps people. And that's right across from food to health to mental health to walks, anything.
This is the thing about social media. People say it's bad things about social media, but social media, we both agree, that can help a lot of people, because you might not understand it, but the other 1,000 or million other people, or 500,000 people could see that as like, that's encouraging me because I'm in that state as well.
100%, yeah. I mean, David Bowie summed it up. When the internet came out, David Bowie was doing an interview, and I think it
Carry on.
might have been with Parkinson, and Parkinson said to David Bowie, what do you think about the internet? And David Bowie said, it will be the best thing and the worst thing the world's ever seen.
Agreed.
And he was right, 100% right, because if you use it correctly, you can get information out to other people that wouldn't see it. You can educate people, you can make people aware, you can spread hope and inspire people. But at the same time, you've got these keyboard warriors that just look at negativity and try and dampen other people's fires. And I never get it when you see people, and I've had it, I've had people put silly comments on mine, and you think, why would you do that? And I've said to some people, I've chatted with people and said, why do you feel you have to put a negative comment? Well, no one wants to know about your walk here. I said, okay, so if you're watching telly at home and something came on you didn't want to do, what would you do? Would you carry on watching it, or would you turn over? And they went, well, turn over. I said, so why didn't you not do that on Facebook then? If you see something you don't like, scroll past it. Read the next one, don't read it. You don't have to leave a negative comment. And that's the bad side of social media, unfortunately.
Yeah, because social media is so convenient on the phone. It's like going food shopping. You go to a bread aisle, there's hundreds and thousands of different types of bread. Why you went and picked that one? Because you like that one.
Yeah.
Or you tried that one, but you didn't like it. But you don't stand there and curse about the bread.
No, exactly that. And it drives me mad, but that is, sadly, I guess it's yin and yang, isn't it?
Yeah.
Good with the bad.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, fast forward a little bit. So when it kind of became that physically and mentally during the process became really, really difficult for you then?
probably, I would say it would have been after radiotherapy. So after chemo, I had 8 weeks of radiotherapy, and that was Monday to Friday, every day. And then, bearing in mind, all this was in Oxford, couldn't have it done in Northampton. So my parents were driving me every day to Oxford to have 10 minutes treatment and then out back home every day. So that in itself was tiring as it was. But when you're having radiotherapy, anybody who's been through it knows that it's very tiring. And after that, when I finished, I remember walking out of the hospital on my last day, my last radiotherapy session after 8 weeks. And it hits you. You think, what your treatment is almost a safety net. You feel like, well, while I'm having treatment, I'm safe. Nothing's going to happen to me. It's not the case, because obviously anything could happen with my brain tumour at any time.
Yes.
But when you're having treatment, it's almost like you're wrapped up and you're safe. It's like you walk out of that hospital on the last day and you think you should be feeling, oh, that's brilliant, my treatment's finished. But you're not. You walk out and you think, shit, am I going to be okay now? I'm not having any treatment. Is everything okay? You walk out of there with no knowledge of what to do next. I remember driving home thinking, what happens now? What do I do now? I've got to have regular MRIs when I get out. But what do I do? Where do I go for help now? Where do I get support from? And there's nothing. They don't give you a pack. They don't give you any information to say, this is available. You can go here, do this. Nothing. So your mind's racing. You're thinking, I don't know what to do. What am I going to do when I get home? And you sit at home and you're thinking, what's happening? It's really weird. It's hard to explain, but you do feel like your safety net's been pulled away from you. Where do I go now? And it was only through, for me, it was not self-prescribing, but I had to find all my own supports. So I found an amazing group called, they were a guy on Facebook told me about them, who I'm friends with now. And he said, there's this charity called Headway. He said, I've been going there and da-di-da-di-da. He said, they support people with brain injuries. So I contacted them, and it turned out that a lad that I used to manage at youth football was one of the managers there. So we got chatting, and I went down there for a tester to see what it was like. And they were nothing short of fantastic. They referred me to a brain injury support team through the NHS. never even knew it existed, never got told about it when I left hospital. They registered me for a brain injury, a national brain injury card. So I've got a card in my wallet that says I've got a brain tumour, and it gives some of my side effects that I could have. So if ever I'm struggling, like sometimes I lose my trail of thought, or I struggle to get my words out, I can show someone the card so they know. They've done all that for me. And I never got told any of this.
Okay.
Any of it. You leave hospital after a traumatic time with nothing. What, radiotherapy?
The hold from the...
Oh, what, from the chemo through to radiotherapy?
Yeah.
5.5 to 6 months.
Okay. In total, or?
Yeah, in total. So it was about just over 20 days. Yeah, about 5 months, all in all. That was chemo, radiotherapy.
Yeah, that's on everything was going smoothly. Because obviously there's ups and downs. It depends on...
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, just the fatigue was the biggest thing for all that.
And obviously you finished, and the doctor said you're clear, you could go home now. Being left alone with no information, you had to search for yourself. And do you remember sort of the time and date that you actually found this group? And
it was quite quickly after the chemo, after the radiotherapy, my last treatment. I put something on Facebook sort of saying, I can't believe I've just had my last radiotherapy, and now I feel like, what do I do? And my friend Tim, he messaged me and said, get to Headway, they're brilliant, blah, blah, blah. So it was fairly quick, and I phoned them, and they phoned me back, and I went to see them. So it was within the first 2 weeks of finishing my radiotherapy, I popped down and saw them. And then things started to fall into place a bit, but only because of Headway, not to do with anything else. So it was, they were a godsend, yeah.
Yeah. So you probably say to other people that's going through or went through that, look for...
Yeah, definitely speak to Headway. There's the brain injury support team that are in Isbrook Hospital at Wellingborough.
Yeah.
And at the time, I was living in Raunds. So I was living 5-minute drive away from this, and they never even told me. And there's also other groups as well, where there's a lot of good groups on social media that communities for brain injury, I would say definitely follow all them, because you get a lot from them. And it's from them you start learning that some of the stuff that's happening to you is because of your brain surgery and not necessarily the chemo or the radio. So some of the side effects. So yeah, I would say Headway, if you've got a brain injury, is the place to go to start off with. And they're so helpful. And I kind of, when I had my taste today there, it kind of made you realise the different levels of brain injury there are. So I still see myself as quite fortunate. Yeah, I have struggles most days, but some people have real bad struggles. But like I said earlier, doesn't make my struggles any less valid than someone else's, but we're just on different levels. So yeah, Facebook, social media, join all the groups, get yourself to Headway, definitely.
Which both agree, social media and internet is a very helpful thing when you're sitting there alone, not knowing what sort of information can gather, because you can probably look at yellow pages if this is a still thing.
Yeah, I don't know if that's still a thing, yeah.
And you try and find a number to call and the support and stuff like
Yeah.
that, and it's literally impossible.
Yeah, it's hard, it's very hard. And it's not just, I'm not putting down Oxford Hospital, it's not just Oxford Hospital. I now work within the NHS as well, so everyone you talk to, it's the same. And that's why where I am at work now, I put together little information packs so that when I'm working with someone, I can say, look, these are support groups that are available. Got their numbers on there. They do this on a Tuesday night. They do this. And it gives people the choice then, because I never had that. I walked away from hospital thinking, shit,
Yeah. Yeah.
what am I doing now? Where am I going? I can't go back to work. I can't drive. What do I do?
Yeah, because you experience yourself and you're thinking, I'm not the only one.
Yeah, no.
Everyone's like lost, and that's where the danger zone comes for a lot of people.
Yeah,
It's
100%.
not going to survive through that chemo, it's the end result of that one.
Yeah, yeah.
That's where the real healing comes in, and that's where you've been building the next stage of your life on that one, didn't you? So you pushed into create your own social media through music.
Yeah, live music for life. That actually started before the brain tumour. Yeah, I started that. I was going to do a music event for suicide awareness and mental health. A best friend of mine took his own life 2008, and I've had other friends try on a couple of occasions. Thankfully, not been successful. So it's always been something that's been quite close to my heart. So I'd set up this fundraiser with live music, and I'd got a couple of venues, and then we went into lockdown. So we couldn't do it. So I felt that I wanted to do something still. So I thought, well, I struggled a bit in lockdown because I sort of struggled a bit with cabin fever, not seeing people. I'm quite a social person. I struggle, and I thought, well, if I'm struggling, there must be lots of other people. So I thought I'll start up a community group to try and help people. And if it helps one person, it's worth doing. And I thought, what can I call it? And I thought, well, I was going to do this music event called Live Music for Life. So I thought, I'll call it that, and it'll help people, and I'll post positive messages, and I'll put something on in the morning, and I'll put on some sort of affirmations and positivity. And it kind of just took off, and still doing it now. And we've got nearly 1,400 people in the group now. So, and it's good. It sort of gives me a focus as well. And if someone wakes up and they wake up to a message in the group messaging saying, hope everybody has a great morning, try and stay positive, blah, blah, blah. If you're not in a good place, that's okay too. Don't talk, reach out, and just give a bit of positivity, and hopefully it helps people. And yeah, it's been going ever since. So again, another positive of how social media can work positively.
Do you feel that music is very important to a lot of people that can connect?
Yeah,
Wow.
100%. I'd be lost without music. I'm music in the gym, music in the car, music in the house, music when I'm cooking. And I think everybody can relate. Music's one of them things that can stir every emotion.
Yeah.
I think the thing that sometimes we do wrong with music is if we're feeling down, sometimes we'll have a tendency to play sad, somber music. When really what we should be doing is playing positive, upbeat music to try and get you out. But everybody deals with things differently. I love watching live music. I love supporting local bands, watching them. I know a lot of people that are in the local bands in Northampton, and I don't get out as much as I used to because of my side effects and my fatigue, my tiredness. But it definitely plays a big part in people's lives. On my community group that I do, every Friday we do Music Friday. So on a Thursday, people post me requests that they want to play, and I put their requests on the page. So on a Friday, it's just music all day. And so many people love it because they say, oh, I was listening to what Tony put on this week, and that was brilliant. It made me think of, and it just gives people that boost that they might need.
The connection.
Yeah, so it's good. And it also gives someone a bit of purpose and something to do and something to look forward to. I get people say, I get people sometimes message me on a Tuesday and go, I've sorted out my songs for Friday. And I'll go, well, post them on Thursday to me and I'll make sure they're on for Friday. So yeah, music is it can stir every emotion, good, bad, happy, sad. It can trigger, it can remind you of people, places, family. It's such an important thing.
Yeah.
So, and I love lyrics in songs. I listen to lyrics, and I love a song that's got good, meaningful lyrics. So for me, that's quite a big thing. I've got on my arm there, I've got tattooed, "It's just a bad day, not a bad life," as a reminder to me. And that's a lyric from a song. And then on the other side, I've got "Keep moving forward." But yeah, that's a lyric from a song. I've got another good friend. He went through alcohol problems, and he's got a tattoo on his top of his leg, I think it is, and it says, "I can't drown my demons, they know how to swim." And again, it's another line from a song. And just, I think songs are powerful, and they just give you that reminder sometimes, and you might need it one day, and you think. So I would say to anybody who's struggling, put on a happy song, put on a meaningful song, put on a song that reminds you of a holiday you went to that was brilliant. To try and get you out. Don't play a song that's going to drag you down further. So that would be my advice. But yeah, music is so important, so important.
Yeah, I can relate to that one, because obviously I timestamp some songs relating me to my got dumped, or happy moments, or Macarena is probably like a holiday.
Yeah, holiday song, yeah.
Right, okay. So when you got out and became out of the treatments and stuff like that, what changed immediately for you that you had to accept?
Lots, I guess. I think the hardest thing, I've spoke about it before, is the acceptance that I've still got a brain tumour and still have to live with that, and there's nothing I can do about it. So rather than thinking about all the things you can't do anymore, so things that were going through my mind as well, I'm not going to be able to go to the gym anymore, because you're thinking about, I was thinking about pressure on my brain and stuff like that. So you think the gym's gone, I won't be able to do that anymore. I won't be able to go, little things like, I won't be able to go roller skating, or I won't be able to do physical stuff. I won't be able to kick about in the park with a football, or I won't be able to do that. And I think you get carried away with focusing on what you can't do, and you forget that there's so much stuff you still can do. So that was really hard. The tiredness and the fatigue was a big thing, and still is. I wasn't ready for that. I didn't realise how hard that would be. It's sort of like, I've always been quite an active person, and I've always used to go out to bands in the evening and have a good drink with mates, and all of a sudden you can't do that because you're absolutely shattered. And that was a big shock. It's hard to explain unless you've been through it. With a brain injury, they say that, like, say someone like yourself, you got tired and you went to bed and you have good sleep and you wake up and your brain's like your mobile phone, 100% charged up, ready to go for the day. They say most people that have brain injuries, their brain only charges back up to 80%, so you don't get a full 100%. So not only are you waking up with 20% less energy than a lot of people, your battery runs out quicker. So I tended to find lunchtime, I was starting to get so tired, and it's not just tired, it's lack of motivation. You don't want to do anything, just want to sit on the sofa and do nothing, but you can't control it. It's kind of really hard to explain. So that was really hard to get my head around. The shaky hands, when you first time you notice that, you think, "God, what's going on? Why am I doing this?" Well, this, and you try and tell yourself, well, it's gonna get better. It'll ease up. It'll get better, but it hasn't. I'll say it hasn't. It's not as bad as it was, but I've still got it. So that was really hard. What else, really? The lack of sleep, not sleeping. I've never been an amazing sleeper. but I've always slept. And all of a sudden I'm getting 2 hours a night.
Because the dangerous thing is that externally you look fine.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, you just like,
Yeah.
that's it, you got a brain tumor. And then that spiral around, never again back to where it was.
No, you're not. You're never the same person.
No.
But it's not necessarily a bad thing because, well, that sounds silly now I've said it. It's being a different person is not always negative. I mean, a lot of the stuff that's happened is negative, but becoming a new person and working on building a better version of me is quite exciting as well. It's quite, I'd like to think it's quite inspiring for some people that they think, well, this has happened to Lee, and we've seen him 3 years ago when he was in John Ratcliffe, and we've seen the footage of him with his head cut open and blah blah blah. And now all of a sudden I'm at that position where I've managed to get back to the gym, and I've managed to get to work, and I've managed to do it looking happy all the time. And most of the time I have been, and most people who know me know that I'm usually smiling most of the time. But like you highlighted, there is moments where I'm not, and that tends to be when I'm in my own company. I'm better with people than when I'm on my own. I'm not great in my own company. I'm getting better because I've had to.
Yeah.
But I'd rather be in a crowd of people than be on my own.
Yeah.
Or be with a girlfriend and going for a walk, and not just for safety purposes, because I don't see it that way. Someone put on Facebook the other day, I went out for a walk the other day and I put on Facebook, I was very wobbly, bit unsteady on my feet, bumped into a couple of bushes, which I find funny, but sometimes if you were walking behind me, you'd perhaps think, oh, he's been out on the beer and it's a bit wobbly. And someone put on Facebook, you really should go out with someone rather than on your own.
Yeah.
But me being me, kind of just think, oh, I'll be all right. If I fall over, I'll phone someone, they'll pick me up. But when you do hear someone say it, I think I need that sometimes. I think I need someone to highlight to me, you're not Superman, you can't do everything. And the girlfriend does it to me regularly, and I need that. And she knows it. And she'll say to me, do you think we should stop now for a bit? Or do you think you should go to the gym tomorrow? Because you're feeling really fatigued. I can see you wobbling.
Yeah.
And I do need it sometimes. But obviously when I'm on my own, I don't get that. There's no voice there. My voice says, just carry on doing it, carry on doing it.
And the demon comes in.
Yeah. So
I'm still before the surgery, before the situation.
Yeah.
I was like,
yeah, I can still do it. I can still do it, but
no. But now to date now, you've been working out.
yeah.
For how long now you've been working out?
When I started, just over 3 months.
Just over 3 months.
But the last 6 weeks with a PT, so a bit more structured.
Yeah.
So, and we've built up really slow. Matt's been fantastic, and he knows my story. And we started off really low, and we soon found out quite quickly that muscle memory does come back to you quite quickly.
Yeah.
And I was doing stuff, and we'd gone in and we'd agreed together. I said, well, we'll do this way because we need to be careful, and gone up quite quickly.
Could you bring it back a little bit earlier? Because I remember we had a discussion when you telling me the story, like when you went to gym and I want PT.
Oh yeah. So I joined the gym, and I spoke to Matt and said, oh yeah, I'd like to sort of get a program. It was when I had my induction, and he said, he went through the form that they have to fill in, and he said, have you got any health issues? I said, only a little one. And he said, oh yeah, what's that? And I said, I've got a brain tumour. And he kind of looked at me and went, what? I went, yeah, I've got a brain tumour. And he went, oh, he kind of didn't know what to say, and he went, I think I need to talk to my manager about this. So I said, okay. He said, I'll come straight back. So off he went, and I stood there waiting. He'd come back in with the manager, and the manager said, I understand that you've got health issue. I said, yeah, I've just got a brain tumour. And he went, right. He said, we'll need a letter from specialist to say that you're okay. I went, yeah, I'm one step in front of you. I've got an email here from Oxford. So I went through, flicked it up. He went, oh, fantastic. He went, yeah, that's fine. It was an email from my specialist in Oxford saying, yeah, you'll be okay to go back to the gym. Actually, it might do you some good mental health wise and everything. So I went, yeah, no problem at all. So it was just, I think it made him laugh the way I was quite flippant. Yeah, I've got a little health problem. I've got a brain tumour. So yeah, that's when it started, and we've quickly progressed on, and I'm now using Matt as my PT, and we're moving it on. And the whole idea, I want to push myself and see how far I can go. I've always managed to lose weight and go to the gym and lose weight and eat the right foods, and people used to say, I don't know how you can lose weight so quickly, but this time I've kind of done it properly, and I've kind of bulked up a bit and ate more calories, and then now trying to cut and do it properly, and I want to maintain it, because I think if you're healthy in your body, it only can be good for your health long term, longevity, and it's good for your mind as well. It gives you some focus, and so yeah, it's 3 months now, and I'm loving it.
In that 3 months' time, training, you're benching
95 kg now,
and you're squatting.
I'm not squatting.
No, actually, leg press.
Leg pressing 243 kg. So, and the leg press one is the one that chest press is great. I think people love chest pressing. It sometimes can be a bit of an ego one, can't it? But I'm kind of gone up in increments. But the leg press, we haven't really covered it, but 2 years after I had my brain surgery, I went out to celebrate being 2 years after my brain surgery, and ended up breaking my leg. So I've got weak bones because of the chemo. So the leg side of things I was really cautious about. And when we started off, we started really low, and Matt knew I'd broke my leg, and he was the same. And so I've slowly not only gone up, but I've slowly got more confidence. And I've got to that stage now where, like I say, today I did 243, and I feel that I can do probably more. So yeah, it's good. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, good.
It's good to having some structure as well.
Yeah, because now
I think you need that. It's not only for the gym, but it helps me with my brain fog, because I get a lot of brain fog. And now I can look on the app and go, right, what am I doing next? Right, I've got to do bench press next. And then you can tick it off and then go, right, next I'm on incline bench. And with my brain, I'm not sure I'd remember all that, because I have memory problems.
Right, okay. I think we covered quite a lot on fitness and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I think we answered subconsciously. We talked
through stuff already.
Yeah. So the final bit. So I think we covered it. Are you happy?
Yeah, no, it's been good. Yeah.
But one last question is like, so beyond what we talked about, your past, your treatment, your physical ability to get back to what you're able to do now, what your bench and your squat, that's all brilliant. So for someone that is going through, or beginning or during or at the end of that procedure, what you went through, what's your message to empower them to that you feel that it relieved them, have hope of what's gonna go?
Just keep a positive mindset, and remember that after a storm, there's always sunshine. And I know it's cliches, and I use a lot of cliches on my groups, and I always say to people, even flowers need rain to blossom. So keep an open mind, stay positive, and just always keep moving forward, even if it's little steps. And when you do take a backward step, that's okay, because next time you can take 2 steps forward and you'll still be in front. So yeah, just keep it in your head that you can get there, and accept that if you are a different person, it's not necessarily a negative thing.
And also one more question is for,
Yeah.
As a friend that knows their friend gone through the situation, as a friend, how would they go through how to help that person?
Regular calls, check-ins. All it needs sometimes is a message saying how things this morning. Can I get you anything? Do you need anything? Again, I think we touched on it earlier a little bit. Talk to them normally. Talk to them about everyday stuff. Unless they talk to you about what they're going through, you don't have to bring it up. You don't have to bring it up. They might not want to talk about it. Just talk to them about the football, the netball, whatever it is, whatever you like to watch.
Yes.
What have you done this week? If you don't sort of say, just because they're in the hospital doesn't mean that they haven't been doing stuff. You just say, what have you done this week? What have you been doing to keep yourself busy? What are the people like on the ward? Did you watch the football? And then, yeah, just talk to them normally. They're still the person that you knew. So, yeah, that would be my biggest thing. Talk to them normally.
Well, Lee, your story is quite inspiring. It's been through a lot, and I'm sure a lot of people listening to this will get help and guidance of everything through. So thank you for sharing.
No problem at all.